Well, hello everyone. How you doing? Hey, what's going on, man? How's it going? Hey, that's right. Hey, Evan, how you doing? How's everybody doing? Dean's here. Hi, Dean. Great to see ya. David's here. Happy Monday, all. He says. David says we have an ongoing Star Wars theme of shirts. I could do, I honestly don't know how many Star Wars shirts I own. I own a good bit. There's ones I don't wear a whole lot. A couple of them I didn't wear because they didn't fit so good. But I've lost a little weight, so they may fit again. I might have to go. I've got some really fun ones too. So maybe I'll just keep going. I don't know. But I'm definitely a t-shirt wearer. That's definitely what I wear a lot. If I have to, shorts and t-shirts, that's been for 2 years. That's been the, here we go. Oh, okay, cool. That's been the outfit of choice here. Let's see. Evan says, nasty cold, but I'm all right. Took off work today, so I'm not complaining. I had it. Well, I don't know if mine was a cold. Mine was the allergies, I think. Glad you're okay. I'm glad you're okay. Now's the time to get them. Pretty sure everything's cool at this point. So yesterday, a really interesting thing, or over the weekend, I can't remember if it was Saturday or Sunday. I put a double speed podcast out. That's what happens when you're burning the candle at both ends. You miss little things like that. I hit a switch right before I rendered it, and that was funny though. I'm still getting emails. I got an email today. Some guys, your podcast is running too fast. Well, just listen to the next one. I explain it all, and it's being. So what happens is you go into where you put the podcasts up, and you can replace the file. So perfect, right? Except for, podcasts, a lot of people it downloads automatically to whatever they're listening to. So unless you delete that and re-download it, it's not going to change. But for anyone it was after lunch sometime. Chris let me know about it, and I changed it. And hey, if that's the worst thing to happen, I'm in good shape. Evan said I didn't know what to think when they said it was only 9 minutes long. Yeah, that's what happens when you speed them up, man. They go fast. It's a lot of information. It's a short amount of time. So I got a good kick out of that. My wife she really thought that was funny. And, what are you going to do, man? What are you going to do? But today, what did we do today? I've done so many of these things. They just they're all blurring in together. It's the new chipmunk sound effect. Well, it shouldn't have been, because that program should change it should change the pitch to normal. That's what it's supposed to do, that little slider thing there. So it'll speed it up but keep the pitch the same. But what the effect it's giving is the effect of someone who's on chemical help. Or caffeine. We can just say caffeine. Someone who's really fat. That was fun. We're talking about diatonic chords today. I wanted to bring out my tube screamer today. I was playing a little tube screamer. There it is. This is my second tube screamer. The first one is having issues. It's not acting quite right. This is my second TS9. TS9s are my favorite tube screamer. And let's see. Tube screamers have a distinct sound to them, to me. And the TS808s are the first ones. And I like to use the gain on a tube screamer. I like to have it so that it's pushing the amp a little bit, So the amp is distorting a little bit, but you're getting also some of the distortion from the tube screamer. And that's why I like the TS9, because it's the TS808 to me. Of course, they're all different. But to me, the TS808, the original one, has kind of a weird breakup to the distortion that's not that way in the TS9. And fixed on after that too, the 10s and all that stuff. So, yeah, I was having fun playing that today. So we're going to talk about diatonic chords and what, how you can play some music over top of them too. Micro machines, yeah. So in the podcast today, we talked about what are diatonic chords. We talked about why you would want to use them. You don't have a choice. They're in all the music that you like. They're everywhere. It's something that everyone's playing that they don't know that they're playing, and about how to practice them. What did you think? So we've got Dean, David, and Evan here. What did you think about the diatonic chords when you first learned them? I know all of you have learned them. Did you, realizing that chords are related? There's a reason for that. For me, when I first understood, hey, we've got some chords and I can pick from these chords and write songs with, I just thought, right? Possibilities just happened. Everything before that was learning different songs and noticing, hey, the C, C, a lot of times we'll go to a F. And it's like, well, why is that? Why does C and F, why are they always together? And why is that G always thrown in there right at the end, right before we go to back to the C? So I knew there was something that's going on. I knew there was a reason why, but I didn't, when you learn the traditional way that I learned back then, it's all chords in the beginning. I think it's that way now, except for riffs are much more, like single note riffs are pretty big for beginner players. But when I started, man, I can just pick it. And you get to you do the C's and the F. And then you'd have these songs with walk downs. I really like Jimmy Page, and there was a lot of his songs had strange chords, and there was a bass line that would take you kind of weave its way through the song. And something like this. This isn't Jimmy Page, but it was something like this. C, and then this thing. Well, I know it's going down one fret, and then ending up at an A minor, and I would go, well, what in the world is this chord? Right? And eventually I realized that that's just a weird way of playing a G, but with the third in the bass, right? So it's really just going C, G, A minor. And when I would get map out all the chords in C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, G to A minor. Wow. Okay. And so those minor chords, the C, the F, and the G are the very strongest ones. And okay, well, but then I'd, play C, and then I go to D minor. And that didn't sound, vanilla at all. And just going back and forth between the two, I'm like, wow, that's a wow, that 2 to the 5, 1. It's just like, wow, that's not normal songs, but it sounds so good, there's stuff I can do with this. So Let's see. Evan said that's basically it, like a light bulb moment. But I need to get back to practicing them. If you think about all of the songs from before we were born to when we were young to growing up, and if you think about all of the songs, and even if you got into songs that were riff based, they're still based around this diatonic model. And it's just amazing that you can get so much. There's so many different songs that are based on this system, all of them really, of Western music, not Eastern music, but not country. Every time I say Western music, well, we play both. We play both styles. We play country and Western there. Evan says, more appropriately, I think I need to get into chord theory for songwriting. It works for everything. I mean, if you're a bass player, the more you know, but you're supporting the chords, the more you know about chord theory, the better your bass lines are going to be, because you'll have control of whether whether your bass lines are, strong notes or weak notes, and when to put them in, and because the chord's there, it's being played, it's played for this amount of measures, and then it goes, and then you can do stuff. You're linear, you're all, you can bob and weave, you know what I mean? David says, it's just now starting to click why they sound good together. Keeps getting cooler the more you know. Yeah, it's really something. It's really something. This stuff makes sense. Music makes sense. There's so many things in life that don't make sense. And this is one of the things it does. And you can take, once it makes sense, then you can get creative with it too. Wow. And there's so many things about music where you listen to a song and it doesn't seem like any other song you've ever heard. It's so different. It's the things about the song that sound good. Like you listen to an AC/DC song. It doesn't sound like anything else, especially when it first came out. It doesn't sound like anything else, but it's still got verses. It still has choruses. A lot of their biggest hits are still about 3 minutes long, like all the other songs at the time, and it's still the chords, was at like Shook Me All Night Long uses super basic diatonic chords that are in all these other songs, but no one ever sounded like AC/DC before. So all of those things that we think about that are make bands different and songs different are the decorations, not the form, not the structure. The structure of most of these songs is something that you can do. And so once you get the structure of these songs, the decorations is up to you. So you can find something that works. I saw a thing, I don't even know who was talking about how they would write all these songs at 128 beats per minute. Why is that? Because people would dance at 128 beats per minute. It works every single time. So they will keep writing songs at 128 beats per minute. How about that? Okay, today I'm going to write a song. What are we going to do? 128 beats per minute. It's going to be a hit. And then chord progressions. But if you do the chord progression too much like this, somebody gets upset, so you got to change a little bit of it, but it's still the same thing. Dean says, I first learned chords, had no clue that a scale was involved, just what sounded good. Yeah. And the scale is the reason. The scale's got the blueprints to all this stuff. And that's what I wanted to know. I wanted to know what the blueprints were. I wanted to know, to me that, say Pink Floyd, right? So I would, on the weekends, I would listen to the radio from Philadelphia where I grew up, and they would play whole album sides, right? And I'd listen to all this stuff. This is before I was buying it. I was checking everything out, and they would play Pink Floyd albums, and they'll last forever, and you go, I've never heard anything like this before. And then you think, well, they must be doing something totally different than everyone else. And they're not. They're playing, it's rock music and popular music. That's the way that they did it. So they're taking these basic things and changing them and putting their style on them. And, I can think of three songs right now that are in D minor. so that's another thing too. Another thing I want to bring up too is that, because diatonic, we always talk about the major, because that's where everything boils down to is the major. But if you work that same progression out, but just starting on the sixth note of the scale, the A, so you're in C major, starting on A, what do you get? You get a minor scale. And so you get the minor scale. So if you have, here, let me open up something to write on here. Let's see. I should make this easier. I gotta hit like 14 different buttons just to share something. There we go. Okay. And so there's Untitled. So if you've got 1 whole step, 2 whole step, 1 to 2, 2, 3, half step, whole half, 4 whole, 5 whole, 6 whole, 7 half, Jade, half. Okay, so this is the major. This is the major scale, right? Whole, half, whole, half. And they all happen in the cracks in between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. And you can get your diatonic chords from there. If you start on the 1, right, and you want a chord that's built off of the first degree, you would take the first, skip 1, the third, skip 1, the fifth. Those are the notes that you'd use. And then, say you want a 3 chord, some sort of E minor chord, right? So you take your 3, skip the 4, the 5, skip the 6, and the 7. So those will be your 3 notes, and you can build your chords from those. And you can check them with your cowboy open position chords, right? The easy chords. It works. They're just doubles, all those notes. But people consider those. This is the diatonic chords come from the scale. That's the reason they're there. But what happens if we take the 6th degree and make that our new? What happens so here's the chords. It's C, D minor, E minor, F, G, A minor, D diminished, and C. What if we start on 6, right, and make that our new 1? So we'll say, let's see here. Okay, so I'll do these without being bold. So this will be minor. Okay, so we're going from 6 to 7. So that'll be a whole step. Okay. So then 7, which is our second in minor, 7 to the octave, right? That'll be a half step. And then we go to 3. So that'd be from 1 to 2 here. That'd be whole step. 4, and we have a whole step. And then 5 would be this half step. 6 would be a whole step. And 7 will be another whole step. Okay? So instead of, for major, whole, half, whole, half, for minor we get whole, half, whole, half, whole. Okay, we started at a different point. Okay? So then we can create oh gosh, here I go. I'm doing 14 things. So we can create our diatonic chords for the minor scale from this. Okay, so we have 1, flat 3 because we have that half step, and 5. So there's let's do C minor. Since we did C major, let's do C minor, right? And then let's do a 2 chord, right? So second note would be D. We have a half step and a whole step. So we have it to be E minor, right? The 2 to the 4 to the 6, whole half, and then whole half. And then the 3 chord, whole, that'd be a major. So 3 to 5, 5 to 7. So that'd be, let's see, we have C, D minor, E minor. So they're the same exact chords as the major. They're just starting in it. It starts in a different place. It's very cool. It's a very neat way of thinking about it. That even though we're doing minor, it all blends back to the major scale, and you can figure it out from all the whole steps and half steps and all those things. Let's see here. I missed a whole lot of stuff. Dean says, did not know what a sus2 or a 4 chord was, but I was playing it and it sounded great. The Who is great for that. The Who is great. Yeah, I had to turn down free tickets to see The Who this weekend because I had to work. Can you believe that? The whole family, free tickets. And I had to work. I just couldn't do it. Man. Goodness. Issei was here. Hey, how you doing, man? Jason says, welcome back. It's a modal song. Yeah, it's a minor. Minor is modal. Let's see here. And right, Evan says, I guess then it becomes minor. The Aeolian mode. That's correct. Issei says the whole diatonic system is just a loop of intervals. It's a single and the same sequence of same intervals. The only difference is where you start within that loop. That makes different. Of course, right. And it's that's where the cage stuff, a lot of people, they never make it to that point. They never realize that the whole major scale, there are tons of sounds that you can get from that. And then you can alter it as well and get, as talking about the modes of like the melodic minor modes and modes of harmonic minor, and all of these different not altered scale. The altered scale is a jazz scale that it's called the altered scale, but a scale that is altered. Let's take the harmonic minor, for example. So you've got your minor scale, and then seventh is raised, just like a major seventh, right? That changes everything. That changes your whole half, whole half. It changes it. Everything is changed. And there's a whole different, so if you do modes on that collection of notes, it's a whole different deal. Everything changes. You get used to that playing major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, major. It's all different. And then the scales, the modes of that scale come out differently too. The melodic minor has a whole different set of that as well. And it gets exponentially more tense, yeah, but cooler and really neat too. So a lot of people go into, they'll buy these scale books and they'll be like, I'm going to play Hungarian minor, right? And I'm going to play all these different pentatonics that are different. There's so much that you can do just from the major scale before you get to any of that stuff. And those are just basic scales that are altered in different ways as well, too. Some more common. 6s and 7 steps changes, and there goes modal music stuff. Yeah, and it's not difficult. I think the hardest part of it is wrapping your head around it at first, and then playing it. And people make it difficult too, as far as scale choices. And learning everything. If you boil everything down to the major scale and use that as your skeleton scale, use that as that's the thing that got me about caged, is because when they go to minor, a lot of these teachers, they change the pattern number, the naming of the patterns, and a pattern 1. If you know pattern 1, it's pattern 1. The pattern never changes. You don't all of a sudden call it pattern 3 or patterns or whatever they do. It's still pattern 1, whether you're playing it major or whether it's minor. Or you've got 7 different tones, 7 different colors that you can get from this cluster of notes. And once you start changing the way that it's named, people are gone. And it's a roadblock right there. But if you can boil everything down to the major scale, and even with harmonic minor and melodic minor and the modes of those, if the best way that I could classify those in my head to play them is I could see that it was the regular patterns that I normally play, but with a change there. So I know, okay, that's where the change happens there. Now I can get all of these new modes and everything. It's really interesting stuff, man. It says a lot of people are taught within the tonal paradigm. They are taught about the root note, and then they can't get away from it into seeing the scales. It's just, and it's powerful stuff, and it's not difficult. But the problem is, and I say this all the time, that learning guitar is not difficult. It's just not obvious. And especially because nowadays people are learning little bits from here and little bits from there, little bits from there, and there's a narrow path to getting all this cool stuff, and it's not difficult. It's just you can't find it. These things are easy and they sound good, and they're but a lot of times too, they take a lot of the cool stuff with modes and scales and how it works, takes you so far away from traditional popular music that people, once they kind of, I've had this happen with the last students too. They kind of dip their toes in the water learning these things, and then they go, well, that's not really what I want to be playing, and they just kind of, I say, I tried that, but I'm not going down that route. But the thing is, it's all tension and release, right? It's all just how far away from the happy sounds are you playing? And I know a lot of, they were fusion players at the time. Now nobody's playing fusion anymore. So now they're all blues and country players. But people I, grew up with were really good players, were fusion players at the time. They would do everything. They wouldn't even think like this. They would do everything shape based, and it sounded shape based. It sounded like I'm forcing a shape over something that it's not supposed to work on too. But then you listen to the jazz players that could really, really, really play. And this is how they're thinking. A lot of really great players. Once you get it, once you understand that it all boils down to the major scale, and it's all degrees of how far away from it you are. And even inside the major scale, you have different, you have stronger and weak notes there. And so that's the big first step, is everyone starts to learn, and they play to the key. That's the big light bulb moment. Oh, I'm playing to the key now, Okay, well, what key are these chords in? A? Well, I'm going to play an A, and I'm done. And then you get all of the noodling and the aimless guitar solos, and and they don't understand the strong notes and weak notes and everything like that. So that's what we teach. I'm not concerned about teaching the same way everybody else does. I just want people to get results. And we have a lot of folks here are getting good results, which is cool. Okay. So we're at 3:00. I'm going to hang out for a few minutes. If anybody has any questions before I go in. And this was cool. This was different than the audio podcast. We went in with a little deeper with this. Yeah, I was trying to get back to my notes. So let's see. Any news about what's going on today? This is everything that's happening this afternoon. Tomorrow, we have a VIP hangout tomorrow. I'm pretty sure. Let me get my calendar so I'm not saying the wrong thing. Today is the 25th. 26. Oh no, so this will be on Wednesday, excuse me, not tomorrow. On Wednesday, we have the VIP hangout at 3:00 on the 27th. And then Thursday, we have the Academy Q&A at 3 p.m. So everything's going to happen. I'll be back tomorrow here around 2:30 for that. That's all that's going on tomorrow. And then Thursday, we'll have a good 2 hours of live streaming and for VIP members. And then, a good same for Thursday for Academy members there. So cool stuff. Cool stuff. Okay, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and call it. Head on back to getting some stuff done. It's great to see you. How do you pronounce your name? I said Issei. Is it? How do you pronounce your name? I'm going to thank you anyway. Sorry, I can't pronounce your name correctly. Thanks to Evan. Thanks to Jason. Great to see you. Thanks to Dean. And thanks to David. I think that's everybody who we've got more watching, but that's everybody who's commented. He said it's fine. Okay, cool. Thanks for popping in, man. I appreciate it. And see you later, man. See you later, David. And bye, everybody else. Talk to you soon.